Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard, Sanctuary Guard, Dragon, Royal Paladin standard deck profile for January 2021. Wanted to do a deck profile on the latest set that came out, which was the Valiant Sanctuary Special Series, giving us a bunch of support for specifically the Sanctuary Guard Dragon deck, a deck that focuses on just having multiple grade 1s on the field to benefit with powering up our Sanctuary Guard Dragon and then also being able to restand it for even more pressure attacks. Very happy with the results of the deck, focusing on a couple key play styles, but I'll also show some of the cards that I would switch around for some other numbers if you wanted to focus more on, let's say, a higher grade 1 count than I have in the deck profile. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. So for the grade 3s, our one and only main go-to grade 3 in the deck is Sanctuary Guard Dragon. On Vanguard Circle, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater and you have a grade 1 unit, this unit's original critical becomes 2. So with this, you just have that pressure with this card alone by just having a grade 1 on the field. It's that scary of a card. You can focus on the additional critical and then have the Force 2 be focused on your rearguard circles. You can even just go for the Imaginary Gift Force 1, having the power go to Sanctuary Guard, and then having that along with the restand power for a once per turn at the end of the battle it attacked while not boosted. You counterblast 1 and rest 3 of your back row grade 1 rearguards and discard a card from your hand to stand this unit, and all of your front row units get plus 10,000 until end of turn. So it makes up for the grade 1 boost that you wouldn't really have to benefit from otherwise, just for the fact that you can't boost this card for the attack. So that makes it also a big play to want to go for Imaginary Gift Force 1, so you have the plus 10 power and the additional critical beforehand anyway. So it's your main go-to grade 3. There aren't any Sanctuary Arc, dragons or anything like that in standard. We're focusing on this as the sole powerhouse for the Vanguard Circle. I am wanting to run one grade 3 just as a kind of backup, and that is Knight of Heavenly Spears Gnips. With this one on Vanguard or rear, once per turn, counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and 2 of your units get plus 10,000 power till end of turn. If your damage zone has 4 or more cards, you countercharge 1. So this is just another good setup to have with supporting your Sanctuary Guard Dragon for the power boost, since you have to not have any of your grade 1s rested in the back row to attack with Sanctuary Guard Dragon. So just a good backup tech grade 3 to go into. It does have the Force gift if you have to ride this card on the Vanguard Circle, but once again, just a good player tech, I say, to call a grade 3 to the rearguard to have powered up units to go into. And that is it for the grade 3s. We'll now move on to the grade 2s. We're running 4 Knight of Conquest Wixton on rear. During your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Sanctuary Guard and its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 for each of your back row grade 1 rearguards. So along with Agonips with this one, having your setup, you also have power boost power, since this will make up for not being able to boost with those cards because you'll want to rest them for Sanctuary Guard Dragon. So a big play for sure. And on Vanguard or rear, when placed, counterblast 1, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, call up to 1 grade 1 card from among them to rear, and shuffle your deck. We run plenty of grade 1s, so you should always see a grade 1 when you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, giving you that search power to go into. So very useful with that play setup for sure. And then being able to rely on this card for the initial search for a bunch of other grade 1s to go into the power boost play with Sanctuary Guard Dragon. And then moving on to, like I said, we do run a pretty low grade 2 count, but just a potential spot. Like I said, I'm not building this deck in full, so I only have the 1 High Dog Breeder Akane, but it is the preferred card I would want to run. If you're going for a more budget lineup, you can always try some of the other grade 2 lineups, like the Stabbing Knight Regal that I have. But for this, 4 High Dog Breeder Akane definitely does come in handy for the fact that we run the Pongal High Beast in the deck as well. With this card, when placed on Vanguard or rear, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 Pongal, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. And then on Vanguard or rear, during the battle is boosted by a High Beast. This unit gets plus 3,000 power. Alone, you don't really want to use the High Beast for the boost. You want to save it for the Sanctuary Guard. But early game, especially if you have to ride this card as your go-to ride target, it comes in handy because you're not on Sanctuary Guard Dragon yet. So just being able to benefit from that boost especially does help for all of those plays, and just being able to call out grade 1s to the field that much quicker. For the last of the grade 2 spot, now this is the optional grade 2 spot. You don't have to run this lineup. If you were to not run it, I'll show you what grade 1s to put in additionally. I have 3 Blaster Blade just as a sort of retire power. We have the pressure with Sanctuary Guard, but not much to take care of our opponent's units. And this one is where it definitely helps with that situation, being able to retire front row rear guards for just a counterblast and a soul blast. We also focus just on the counterblasting for Sanctuary Guard Dragon, so we don't have to really worry about soul too much with some of our other cards in the deck. But once again, and I'll show you what to take out for this card if you wanted to run more of a higher grade 1 lineup than we're already running. And that is it for the grade 2s. We'll now move on to the grade 1s. Our main go-to one is Authoritative Knight Balazal. On Vanguard Circle, when placed, look at 7 cards on the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Sanctuary Guard Dragon or Knight of Conquest Wigston. From among them, put into your hand and shuffle your deck. So either you go for the Sanctuary Guard Dragon, your main go-to grade 3, or your potential ride target with this card. As long as you have this grade 1, you could potentially set up your entire, I would say, ride chain, just because they're the preferred cards you want to ride into. So great setup for that for sure, and a definite 4 of. And on rear, when your Vanguard with Sanctuary Guard and its card name attacks, this unit gets plus 10,000 until end of battle. So with that, that unit being the Sanctuary Guard Dragon, being the power boost it needs, along with the additional critical it has, this card makes up for the fact that it can't boost, so a big plus there for sure. And if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, you countercharge 1. This ability may only be used by a card with the same name once a turn, but still it makes up for it. You're only going to be able to use the restand once a turn anyway with Sanctuary Guard Dragon, so that power plus and then counter charge definitely comes in handy there. For the next spot, a little more readily available depending on how many of the Valiant Sanctuary boxes you purchased, but we only got one sadly with them, and that is Laurel Knight Sisylas. It's the grade 3 searcher for Royal Paladins, and also during your turn, if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, it gets plus 5,000 power. So we mostly use it to search out our Sanctuary Guard Dragon. If you don't have it, you can always substitute in Refreshing Knight Gruhil like I have here for draw power, but you want more of that confirmed grade 3 search with this card. You only have so many in the deck, and you want to make sure you can ride into it for that play. So 4 of this, I would say, is definitely necessary for that lineup. And plenty of grade 1s, especially. I also run 4 Pongal with this one on rearguard when placed. If you have another unit in the same column as this unit, you can soul charge 1. If the unit you soul charge is a trigger unit, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So it just helps to build up some soul for some of our other cards in the deck, including Agonips and also our Blaster Blade, if you have that option to go into. But it's mostly there just for an easy grade 1 call target with High Dog Breeder Economy. That's why we're running 4 of it, so we have plenty of cards to go into and call out with that card. And also, we are running 4 of the Knight of Bright Light Crayota on rear when placed. If you have 5 or more units, you counterblast 1 and draw a card. So normally with this deck, you definitely want to have 5 units on the field. Your 2 rear guards in the front row that will be attacking along with your Vanguard, and the 3 in the back row you have to rest with Sanctuary Guard Dragon. So it's just a good, when placed on rear guard, counterblast 1 to draw a card, making up with all the counter charging we can do in the deck. And then the fact that it doesn't really have any other power plus boost. It's just going to be able to provide you with cards to guard in your hand while being able to then be rested by Sanctuary Guard Dragon. And then lastly, for the grade 1s, I run the 1 Knight of Exemplary Sword Lucius on rear guard. When your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed, put this unit into your soul, draw a card, and call a card from your hand to rear. It's just more grade 1 soul building power. I only have the 1 because this could be the potential slot where you could take out Blaster Blade for more grade 1s in the deck. You will lower your grade 2 count significantly, but you also have more setup since you can search with plenty of grade 2 options with your Authoritative Knight Balazal. So more player preference. If you want to increase your grade 1 count, you'll take out the Blaster Blade for more of this card. If not, and want to leave it as is, that's fine as well. It's just good to have the Blaster Blade as an option to retire cards on your opponent's field. And then that's it for the grade 1s. A definitely large grade 1 count, but that's the main playstyle of the deck. For the grade 0s, I'm running our starter, which is Starting Legend Ambrosius. When wrote upon, you draw a card, and then having the updated text for the Quick Shield if your opponent has a grade 1 or greater. I love the foil for this card as well. Any Sanctuary Guard deck, I'm sure, will be running this card as the go-to starter. It was the one we had for so long for all the Sanctuary Guard Dragon decks. And as for the trigger lineup, with the immense pressure we have with the restanding Vanguard, I decided to go with the Bringer of Dreams Belinus Sentinel critical. Just, it has a high shield, but also just that critical power. You could potentially have this card and then just stack the power onto your Sanctuary Guard Dragon and the additional critical, restand, attack again for hopefully potentially game against your opponent. For the rest of the critical lineup, I run 4 Flogel and 4 Epona. Just my preferred criticals, definitely some of my favorite art still from Standard and original format. And lastly, I run 4 Yggdrasil Maiden Elaine as the heal trigger of choice. Once again, there's no change or anything. I just prefer this. I feel the newest heal we got worked better in the Alt Mile deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. It's definitely an interesting look behind a very specific supported deck, but I know a lot of people were fans of Sanctuary Guard Dragon and happy to see it, and I wanted to focus on a build that focused more on just the generic support without having to mix it into anything like Majesty Lord Blaster or Alt Mile altogether. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.